back to NJCAA Hot Hoops. We're back from the holidays. Kenya Landers, Dan Olson, we co-host the show for you, and we're here to talk nothing but JUCO women's basketball. So we have been, off for a few weeks due to the holiday season, but we've got a lot of packed up information here that we got to get through. We want to talk about teams that have been successful here over the last, I don't know, 5-6 games or so, and those that maybe have stumbled and fall. But let's get right to it. Shelton State and Chipola both went 5-1 over the past few games. They've turned it around maybe a little bit at Shelton because she really was struggling there to begin with. But then we get to Eastern Florida State as well. They were 5-0. So she had her early season struggles as well, and now she's starting to put it in gear. And a little too early to peak, Kenya. You want to peak in February, but you want to get your little, your shop in order, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Northwest Florida State keeps rolling on. They're number one in the country. They haven't lost yet. And, so that goes without saying. Gulf Coast 4-0 this week. And they, by the way, moved up to number 3 in the country this week as Butler fell. So Butler fell to, I believe, number 9. But Collin remains at 2. And Utah State Eastern, which we haven't really talked about. They play out with Salt Lake and Central Wyoming and those teams out there. They were 4-0 this past week as well. And, Pensacola, Panhandle Conference, sneaking around. They were 4-1 this week. So some of those always strong teams, Kenya, they find a way and they continue to chop it down. And,
remember very early on, we talked about the strength of schedules early, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about how the teams that were going to make some noise were playing a tough schedule early on. They were not having any walk in the parks. They were not doing anything soft. Like everybody was going at it with other top tier teams. And all the teams that we're talking about that are at the top of our rankings, there they are.
Yeah. Eastern Florida State would be one of them right there because she played a tough non-conference schedule to begin with.
She did. Yep.
By the way, there's somebody named Trinity Valley that fell into the number 4 spot this week.
We on the come up.
Yeah. Now we had, like, I know I had, now you hadn't because you're a Valley girl, but I had kind of said, wait a minute, this isn't going to work, but the fact is you only need 5 to get the win. You don't even need that sometimes, but she's at number 4 this week in the poll. So let's see how this continues to roll. But
you know how it is. She had some injuries. I think she has a player that's eligible now coming off the break that was not eligible last semester. So That's going to be good.
There's a little more depth.
A little bit more depth. Just got to get one back, one at a time.
Yep. Cochise, they lost twice this past week. Although they did win 3 among those teams that were ranked nationally, they went 3-2 for the week. So they need to kind of get on the track again to succeeding. But as we had touched before, back in the early part of the October season, her better guard got injured. Mm-hmm. And I think that's taken them time to kind of reorganize themselves, So, but listen, the other day must have been a great game. I wish I could have seen it. It was Three Rivers played Wabash Valley. It had to have been a track meet.
Yes.
And, we talked about Wabash the other day about how they could put up some serious points, but they fell. They fell to Three Rivers 87-79. But one of their better guards, beautiful Wahid, she's a freshman.
Thank you. Did you call me beautiful? Thank you. I couldn't help it. Sorry.
One of the unique names of JUCO. But she's got a game to back it up now, and she can put the thing in a hole. She can hoop.
Yeah, she's
she had 32 the other night. And but Dakaria Jackson, I would probably consider her the best perimeter player, that small forwards player in the country in JUCO as a sophomore. She
Mhm.
was really good. She had 18 and 7 against Wabash. I mean, those are two teams that can find their way to Casper, Wyoming in March. So, yeah, I thought that that was one of the marquee games that was played in the recent days before us here. Um,
Absolutely.
Chipola, they played Mississippi Gulf Coast now for the second time. Chipola, even though they got a new coach, sometimes it takes a little time to get that thing rolling. He's really got it going, John Markham. He's 16 and 2, I believe. And
That's the second time they beat them, right?
they did, yeah, they played them twice. And Mississippi Gulf Coast is really balanced. Like they could put 5 players in double figures. They really play well as a team, and they get out and defend you and trap you in that. And Chipola's down one of their players, one of their guards, Jasmine Jones, broke her hand. So they've had to rely on their point guard really quite heavily in Tanaja Purifoy, um, a 5'3" dynamo. I think we've mentioned her before.
Hmm.
Um, this kid's electric now. I mean, she can stick it from deep. She can get down through the lane and in through traffic. Got kind of a fearless persona to her, and she's an unsigned point guard in the 2024 class, in the sophomore class, and she's got solid academics. Wants pharmacy as a major. I mean,
Nice.
she's got a lot going for her, and she's really stepped up her game. And I know John Markham's delighted to have her because, as we just stated, you got to have good guards. If we said that
Gotta
from
have the guards,
day
baby.
one of
Gotta
our
have
program, So, um, but moving on from that, I think one of the teams that's really starting to make noise on the national level is Odessa. A former national champion, Odessa
them.
College. They're in that tough West Texas JUCO league. Um, They've got a really good guard that we've talked about before named Ivana Krajina, a Bulgarian. Um, she put up, I think it was 28, 7, and 7
Yeah.
last night. 28.7 boards, 7 assists against Midland. And she's put up some decent numbers against, like she had 22 on Weatherford. But they've got another kid that's transferred in from Northwest Kansas Tech, um, and her name is Sananga Sanango. So I messed that up pretty bad.
Say it 3 times.
Yeah, I know. A 6'3" center. I think she's from France, perhaps, or was from France, and has started to really develop. And Francois Bidel, he's going to keep them locked and loaded down there. And he's
That's
got
right.
some talent that can press and run, and he's got kids that can score. So
Yep.
he's starting to finally get his personnel right, and
Hmm.
it's starting to pay dividends for him at Odessa.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
um, and then let's not forget about Casper. Casper's going to be our host for the national tournament.
Hmm.
They're 1-0 now in conference play. They beat um, Dawson, Montana, which is one of their league teams, I believe. And they have a girl named Andy Schisler. Andy's about a 5'9" guard. They're very systematic. If you can remember Casper when you coached, they don't have anybody that's going to really super wow you, but they all put the ball in the hole. They all know how to play. They all know how to space themselves on the floor. And Dwight Canary is one of the better coaches that is out there in JUCO land, and he's there. He's experienced. He's been there a long time, of course, and he's getting proven results. So, you know, Casper, I'm sure they'd love to be at the Ford Wyoming Center in late March, and they very may well be. If they keep it rolling. So, um,
Yeah.
you know,
They got a
so
good system that they play within.
they do, and there's so many other games that we could have talked about over the last, say, 2 weeks, that we could touch on, but, we're going to get to them sooner or later as we move forward. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. When we come back, we're going to talk about our upload segment and what we can look for here in the future for JUCO into the mid part of the month of January.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
We're back, NJCAA Hot Hoops with Kenya Landers and Dan Olson. We want to talk about Upload, the games that we have coming up here in the week ahead in the NJCAA across the country. We touched base, Kenya, a little bit on national rankings. The poll came out yesterday. Northwest Florida State remains 1, Collin 2, and Gulf Coast moved up to 3. Trinity Valley, the Lady Cards go to number 4 this week. But there's another team that's kind of making a little noise among the national top 20, and one that hasn't really been in there for a while is Temple. Temple had a huge win the other night against Blinn. I think they beat them like 78-72 perhaps. But a big reason why they've been winning, they've got a post player, an undersized one, but she gets it done. Kira Bass, kind of a double bruiser down low. Doesn't win the airport contests. You know what I mean? Like where they're 6'3" and 4, and they're like, wow, But consistency is her game. Kira Bass, someone we haven't spoke about, a sophomore, 5, maybe 11, 6 foot. And you always need somebody like that,
Yeah, I mean, it creates such difficult matchups for the traditional down low. I remember we had a player, Kiana Flax. I mean, she would pull those post players out to the 3-point line and either knock it down or she was going by him for an N1. And those kind of players are hard to handle.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember Kiana she wasn't thin. She was a solid, thicker body forward that has a mismatch to her, and Bass provides the same results. So we'll see how Temple moves forward here as well. And Amber Taylor, she's the coach at Temple. Used to be coach in Oklahoma. She's kind of one of these tried and true JUCO coaches. She's been in it a while, and I'm excited for them to see how they're going to keep going. I think we could also kind of touch on the Division II side. We've got a new number 1 in Division II. Not a new name necessarily in the long history of JUCO, but Johnson County finds themselves undefeated, 16-0, number 1 in the poll. Kirkwood fell to number 4. Kirkwood had held the number 1 spot since the beginning of the season, but they slipped up a couple of times, and they've fallen. But I wouldn't count them out. They're gonna be there in the end. They always are. But kind of a little newcomer to the Division II side. Used to be Division I, Iowa Western. Mitch Rolls, who's the coach now at Iowa Western, used to be at Labette in Kansas. Just moved a little north. He's got a good, solid team, starting to find their way. and they follow themselves at number 2 on the Division II side in this week's poll. So, but one of the keys, I think, to Johnson County, he's always got some kids with size,
Always, always.
they play hard, and he's got a kid on his team that's just, her name is Jazzy Klein. She's like a 5'10" guard forward, plays a lot of different positions, but she'll run through the wall for you. She's a glue player, tough 50-50 ball. She's on the floor, I'm sure she's an integral part of his success thus far, I would suspect. And I really haven't looked at her statistical numbers or anything of that sort, but having watched them early on, I could tell she was one of the more important pieces to their success. And here we are.
I mean, when you're playing with somebody like that's diving on the floor, getting loose balls, playing hard, like that stuff is contagious. So I'm sure she's got all those players around her playing just like her. And I mean, you're going to win with that kind of play.
Yeah. You want her on your team.
You want her on your team for sure.
Agreed. So we've got some decent matchups coming up here now in the week ahead. And we're going to take out first. Salt Lake's going to play at CSI, Southern Idaho. Those are two teams that are going to be possible national contenders. Western Nebraska, they're going to play at Casper. So Casper's going to get challenged at home. That's a big game coming up for them. We haven't talked much about Grayson, but Grayson's got a new coach as well. He used to be at Murray State, and they're playing Temple now. Temple's got to go to Grayson up there north of Dallas, and that could be a really interesting game. If Temple wins that game, that could be a real kind of a catapulting game for them, I think, moving through into February, and again, the Kansas Jayhawk thing, you've got Hutch being a stalwart, they're always there, but now we got Dodge going to Barton. Barton's pretty good, but so is Dodge, and you got to be prepared because you don't know who's going to knock you off. I mean, any one of those teams can beat one another. That's a really competitive league in that Jayhawk conference. So whoever comes out of the Jayhawk, because you got Butler too, don't forget, and
that's what I mean, there's so many, and that's a tough league.
Yeah. I mean, you could get a surprise winner out of that league to get to the national tournament, so we'll see how that all plays itself out. But one of the better players that I saw early on that's at Iowa Western that's really helping him move to number 2 in the poll. She's a girl named McKenna Minter, 5'6", a point guard, a good.
We talked about her early on, and I love watching her play.
She transferred in from Seton Hall. She got a little swag to her. She can stroke it, she can shoot it, but she likes to share it too. She was a good get for him, and that I think they probably go as she goes.
Yeah.
But one of the
which is a good thing. Which is a good thing, right? Because when she steps on that court, she plays no games. Like, I mean, she is for real. She plays hard. Like you said, she can score, she can drop it, and her defense is on point. Like she's carrying it for her.
She just knows how to play. No question. And then you've got as we talked about Sanango is going to be one of these kids, I think, that really continues to develop as she goes on through the next month and a half. She's getting challenged in practice. She's getting challenged in every game that they're playing against, which I don't know if she was getting that before, but and then little Purifoy, she's a dynamo, so there's a lot of these kids, Kira Bass, those, these 3 that I just mentioned that are unsigned that can play Division I basketball somewhere. So, this is This is a great opportunity for these kids to get noticed, through our show.
You know how they do, Dan. They
Yeah.
all show up at the regional tournaments and the national tournaments right after signing day because
Yeah.
they missed on somebody.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
when the
sleep on that
JUCO kids get,
JUCO.
hey, we ready and waiting.
Yeah. Don't sleep on the JUCO though. You got to do your homework.
Ready and waiting. That's right.
Listen, when we come back, we're going to have Angelica DePaulo. She's the head coach at Eastern Arizona College. She's been rolling. She's been there now for a while, and we're going to have her on the hot seat when we come back to NJCAA Hot Hoops.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
We're back with Hot Hoops, and on the hot seat, Angelica DePaulo, head coach at Eastern Arizona College. Angelica, welcome to the show, and
Thank you.
happy 2024.
Happy New Year for everybody.
Listen,
Well-
we know that you've been rolling along there at Eastern Arizona. You got some talented players, and you're no stranger to the JUCO environment, having been one yourself. You're currently 15-2 now?
15-1.
15-1.
Yeah.
Get it right, Dan.
Second
Get it
loss
right.
there. Come on,
Okay.
man. Get it right.
And that it was your lone loss was against Cochise, correct?
Coaches College, yes. Now for our conference, we play back to back. So we play on Friday and Saturday. So on Friday we won. On Saturday they got us by 6.
Okay. Interesting how that's set up.
Yep.
What do you think of that, Kenya?
It's really interesting because looking at your schedule, first of all, thank you for joining us today. We're so happy to have you. Looking over your schedule, it was very interesting how, you just did some unique things. You played Eastern Arizona back to back. So kind of like what you did with Cochise. So kind of talk to us a little bit about what your thought processes were as you were building your schedule, the mixture between you having some returners, some newcomers, and just how do you build your schedule to make it the most beneficial, for your team?
For the schedule changer, there was not by choice, because of restraint of our conference, because we play a lot of D2. So we're trying to get more recognition nationally. So they don't respect us as much because we play a lot of D2 teams. So for that we had to change. So we play all the D1 4 times. So that means that we got to play back to back. So we play Friday and Saturday. We just got to get ready. It's hard. It's hard for the kids. It's like a quick turnaround, but this has to be done, and I hope that change moving forward for the whole country to see that Regional 1, we are talented. We can compete nationally ranked teams. And we have everything that it takes, just like the Texas teams, the Florida teams. So we just want to be noted.
I love that, girl. I'm gonna come play for you. I'm gonna put my shoes back on. Do I still have some eligibility? You got me hype over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Hey, you changed your name. You can.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. So what has been some really pivotal times in your seasons, so far? Because as coaches, we go along and things happen and we kind of saw that coming. And then sometimes it was like, oh, that's going to be good, or that's not so good. So what are some key things that have
Yeah,
happened
we
for you?
didn't know what to expect about, playing each other, the D1s 4 times. It's tough, especially when you play a team like Cochise, like Arizona Western. So it's very tough competition. We just got to pray that nobody get hurt in the day before. So we're ready for the next game. It's just like game by day. Like I tell my players, we got to get 1% better every single day. And that's how we go by.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about what your practices are like. Are they high tempo?
Oh yes, we practice hard.
Yeah.
Like the goal for us at East Arizona College is our practice should be harder than the game. So I'm on them 24/7. We practice very hard. We compete. It's just like I make everything a competition. I wanted them to get better. The goal is to make each other better. That's the whole point of a junior college. And my goal as the coach at JUCO level is to prepare them to the next level. So I wanted them to feel how it's like to be a D1, in the future. So I'm very hard on them. I yell at them. You can see our TikTok. I was yelling, get on the line, make a mistake, get on the line. I don't play. So I'm very hard and I love what I do. My JUCO coach when I'm playing in New Mexico Junior College, it was Coach Sanders. He was very tough on me. He changed my life, whatever. So he's like a mentor to me. So I want to be like him one day.
There you go. There you go. Never mind. It sounds like y'all run too much. I don't want to play for you.
Yeah, we run a lot. We run a lot. It's a track team.
I'm just playing. Dan, what you got for Coach?
Well, hey, Drew Sanders, one of the legends of JUCO basketball. You were put in a good place, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah, he changed my life. I came from Brazil. I'm from Brazil. You can hear my accent. I didn't know English at all. I remember, I was one of their best players, but like every single day I had to prove myself, He said, I'm going to get you a flight back to go to Brazil tomorrow if you don't show up today. That was the type of love that I got it from him. But like, I'm so very grateful for him. He changed my life.
He was not going to run you off.
Yeah.
He might have told you to go to the casino, but he wasn't going to run you off.
I know, he was crazy, but it was a good crazy out of love. I respect them and whatever.
And then you went to Utah State.
Yeah, I went to Utah State. I didn't have a great experience at Utah State, but, like I tell all my players and, I'm very grateful. I got my education done, basketball. I never had to pay for school, so I'm grateful. I got to learn English, got my master's degree because of basketball. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything that I had.
Well, you took over for Cameron Turner, one of the high-octane former women's coaches that went to the men's side in the history of my being in JUCO basketball, okay? And that's purely a compliment for me to him. Mm-hmm. But he didn't leave the cupboard bare for you, did he?
Yeah, he was great. I learned a lot from him. He was very pushy, in a good way, recruiting. You got to go get him, that go get him mentality that I learned from him, we were always talking about recruiting, about like, now, coach, when you talk to AU coaches, high school coach, now she's not going to JUCO. She's a D1 player. He never gave up. So I learned that from him, to be a dog, we got to go get him,
Persistence.
Yep.
Let's talk about your players. Kenya, you would love her point guard, Victoria Santana. I believe one of the better, among the one or two best point guards in the country in her class. Shed some light on Victoria, where she's from. How did she get to Eastern Arizona?
Yeah, so V, she's from Brazil as well. So when I was in Brazil, like 12 years ago, I was playing to a club, and then she used to play for the same club. And I knew her assistant coach, and I talked to him, hey, she have any interest to come to America, to know English and all that good stuff. And she was on board. She's tough. She's a dog. I use the terminology of a dog. She show up every day. At 6 a.m. in the gym, if I open the gym, she's there. At 9, she's there. She wants it. The goal is for her to be the player of the year. That's her goal. She texts me every day. That's her goal. And she works so hard. Super nice kid. She didn't know English, just like me when she came a year ago. She finished the year 4.0 GPA. She wants it. She's a go-getter. Anybody that gets her will be happy. She works super hard every single day. How she plays is how she practices every single day. And she's a leader on court for me. She leads by example. She communicates with the girls well, with myself. So I love that kid. I'm going to miss her a lot. I just am hoping that she goes to the right situation for the next year to be successful on and off the court.
Yeah, a lefty point guard with a scoring punch. That's what she is. She can knock down jump shots. She's got some streakiness to her from the deep ball, but she can hoop, this girl.
Yeah,
And
she's
she's
a
going to
hooper.
be a vital component for you, I'm sure, as we move forward toward March.
Yes, yes,
And
sir. You know,
hopefully find
it's
your
just a kid that she has goals, you know. She want to get there. And then like a lot of kids, it's easy to talk. Talk is very cheap. All of them tell me they want to go D1. But like the question is, what are you doing to get there? And
Correct.
Show me.
Example,
Show me
you
you
know?
want to go D1, huh?
Yes,
Show me.
show me the work, right? Everybody want to go D1, right? But you just got to
That's
put
right.
in the work. And she does the work every single day. No question asked.
Now,
I
Kenya,
love it.
she's, Eastern Arizona's got a little uniqueness to it because they actually have some front court size and they have some front court players that can really finish around the basket fairly well. I mean, and that's a rare commodity to have in the women's basketball world, really. She doesn't have one, she doesn't have two, she's got three. So, and two of them are freshmen. So,
I love it.
Gracie Sorensen. Now, she came to you by way of the state of Utah, a
Yes.
6'3" center.
She's
I would
6'4".
think.
Come on, Dan. Get it
Okay,
together.
we'll give her 6'4". We'll give her
Yeah,
6'4".
she's
Coach, you
6'4",
got to
like
keep them right. It's my job all the time. You got to keep
I always
them
shrink
right.
them an inch. But she's pretty skilled around the basket. Tell me what you do with your front court players to make them better through your practice setting. Is there anything you do different? Because they were solid during Jamboree season in October, and I'm sure that they're going to be a vital component for you as you move toward the end of March.
Yes, sir. We believe in player development. I want a player to come here, be successful, score 20 points a game. But like what I'm doing as a coach to make them better. So we do a lot of, I was a post player. So we do a lot of work, one-on-one work, just back to the basic, full work, chin in, all the little things. I feel like it's very important in our program. That's how I think that's the difference. They get here and they get better.
Yeah, I agree. You've got, who do you have now next coming up for you with your next opponent?
We play Yavapai Friday and Saturday at Yavapai.
At Yavapai, okay.
Yes.
I haven't seen Yavapai play yet. I did watch them last year. I know they were small in size, so that could be something that maybe you can take advantage of as you move on.
They do have a post player. She's about 6'3", a freshman post. She just got there. She's getting better every day. They have like one of the best scorers in the conference. Kashaya, she's averaging like 15 to 16 points. So there's going to be a good game. It's going to be tough. We just got to show up. Yeah,
they're one of their strengths was their two guard that they had.
Yeah,
Played like a 2-3
still there. Yes,
was
sir.
a good player for them. Yep, I agree. Well, listen, we wish you the best moving forward. And, we want to see you out in Casper, Wyoming here in late March.
Let's
and
go.
I think you've got the firepower to do it within your league.
Yes, sir.
And from what I've seen thus far, but Kenya and I will both track you as you move with your team forward throughout the next 2 months. I mean, it's such a critical time now for the next 8 weeks. It's big. It's big. And every game is vital, so Kenya, anything to add?
Okay, so I don't know if you have tuned in, Coach, but you were a post player in JUCO. I was a point guard in JUCO.
Okay.
So I have one question for you. Can you win a national championship without a point guard? Even if you have sky's the limit, the best post player.
No, ma'am.
Which one does it take to win the
No,
natty?
man, we need to have a great point guard on the floor, to be the coaching side of the court. I give that to you. Yes.
I got another one on my team.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We need a great point guard.
I like it. Well, Coach, listen, good luck. We are so excited to have you, and we appreciate you. And just thanks for joining us on Hot Hoops.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
back with our closing segment, NJCAA Hot Hoops with Kenya Landers. I'm Dan Olson. We want to give some props to some people here for our ending segment. And what better way to start but to congratulate Bob McKinley, head coach at Weatherford College. Back in early December, he earned his 1,000th career win. Beat Paris, I believe, 74-66. And Bob is a fabric of junior college women's basketball. Been doing it for 46 years. My hat's off to Bob. Congratulations. Kenya, he's only one of 4 in the history of JUCO basketball to have earned 1,000 or more victories.
That's really cool. And it's crazy because I remember him from when I was playing at the Valley. We used to go to Weatherford and then they would come to us. And every year they had hard-nosed teams. They had always these gigantic foreign players that would just knock everybody over, and they were tough. Tough. Yeah. So I much respect to him. That's awesome.
And he plays in a tough spot. I mean, that little gym that they have is not easy to play in, especially when you get a full group of people in there. I mean, it's a little bandbox, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure he uses that to his advantage.
I got a technical foul in there, I remember.
Well, anyway, congratulations, Bob. Absolutely. And to many more. And, you know, we always kind of pay attention to who's the nation's top scorer, and Princess Anderson has continued to stay at the top spot. She's averaging about 25 points a game. She's signed with Wichita State in the early signing period. And but here's another name that we hadn't spoke about before, Amira Walker from Angelina.
Yeah.
You know, Byron Coleman, one of the characters of junior college women's basketball, if there ever was one. Always seem to find these kids that can really go. And Amira, more of a, like, I believe like she was like a track star, you know, but they gave her a basketball and said, go to work. And she is really going to work. She's averaging about 22 points a game or 21 points a game. And she's tough to guard, a little speed merchant, you know, out there, weaves through, you know, traffic and knocks down the threes, gives it to our teammates. He's got a nice team. You know, he could make some noise, I think, before it's all said and done. And we'll keep an eye on Amira Walker.
Absolutely.
So what do we have? Any other questions from our mailbag?
Yes, we have great questions from our Twitter mailbag this week. So the first question, I know we talked about one already, but any teams adding some major pieces to their team in the second semester due to injuries or eligibility. And the one that we already spoke about was Trinity Valley has I can't remember her name, but I think she's a post player.
She's giving him a little size.
Transferred.
I think she was with him the first semester, but didn't play, of course. But you know, so that gives her 8 now.
Yeah,
8 players. But honestly, I haven't really heard of anybody that's got an influx of talent that we didn't already know about. From first semester to second, that just happened to appear. But I'm sure there's somebody out there.
I'm sure. Kind of a similar question to that. Have we heard of any teams that have lost any players to either injury or eligibility?
Well, we talked about earlier on, you know, about Coach East losing one of their guards.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Jasmine Jones at Chipola hurt her hand.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She's off the roster right now until she heals up, which I don't know how long that will take. But you know, those are little things like sometimes you just don't hear about. They kind of get swept under the rug until like, wait a minute, where is that player? You know?
Yeah, you'll see them play in the regional tournament. You're like, where is such and such? Or she's not dressed out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess people don't really publicize that.
And not as much as maybe
Good
we'd like
question.
them to. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this was always very interesting to me and always worried me sick over the whole break when my kids would go home for Christmas break, 3 weeks off. How long does it really take, you think, to get a team back in the sync, back rolling again? Because the 3 weeks can be good, it can be bad. The good part is it can stop you from peaking too soon. The bad part is, you can drop some games and that whole deal. So, but how long do you think it takes for teams to just get back rolling again?
Wow, that's a tough question, but I mean, I
Uh-huh.
think it's per team. If you know you've got a really committed team, they're gonna that week, those 3 weeks, however many days you have off, if they're committed, they're gonna stay good enough shape. It may take them a week to get back into normalcy. Of
It's
course, you
been a
got
long time since you coached JUCO, right?
yeah. Like it used to be a month. Like take a month off.
Yeah.
Uh, But yeah, I mean, you got to schedule smart too. Put a couple of cupcakes
Mhm.
on there to begin with to
Yeah.
get through, and then we got it rolling again. Uh,
Yep.
but in the case of someone like Danielle Adams, okay, doesn't matter. Danielle Adams, one of the great junior college players in history. All
Yeah.
right, she was in her own shape. Didn't matter. She'd still stick 30 and 30, 30 and 20,
Mhm.
whatever. It didn't matter. So sometimes the rules don't apply.
True. True
So,
that. Yeah.
yeah. How about you on your end? What would you consider the Mendoza line?
I just think it depends on how ugly you want to make it when they get back. You know, uh, I've done it both ways. I've kind of let us ease our way back into it, and then we hit it with the 2-a-days and those 20-minute runs. And we always told our teams, it'll be back. It'll be however you want it to be when we get back. You decide.
Know it ahead of
So
time.
yeah, you decide depending on what you do at home. But it's just the team chemistry isn't what you really worry about, but you just worry about the sharpness and getting them in their flow. So I feel like, by the time everybody hits conference play again, they should be good to go. I mean, they're kids, right?
Yeah, they're resilient. They're resilient.
Right.
Well, we're going to be resilient too. We're going to come back every week between
Yes.
now and when we tip for the national tournament all the way through late February. So
Yes.
we want you to come back next week to NJCAA Hot Hoops, and we'll have a new show for you. We'll talk about new players, existing players we've already talked about, because some of these kids aren't going away. They're part of the tradition of JUCO and how successful their teams will be, from
Yeah.
week to week until the end of the season. So, you know, we we've got another 7 or 8 weeks of good basketball to go, Kenya.
Absolutely. It's only going to get better.
Yep. Anything else to add?
No, I'm just happy to be back. Happy New Year, everybody. It's the last time we'll say it. You can't really keep saying Happy New Year, and it's almost double digits, but one last time. Yes, please, please, please send us questions in the Twitter bag on our Twitter feed accounts, NJCAA Network, I think, or Dan or I's personal accounts. So we would love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all next week.